the Mid-American Conference on ESPN. On a glorious Saturday afternoon in Athens, Ohio, it's homecoming with the Bobcats of Ohio University hosting the Huskies of Northern Illinois University at Peden Stadium, where Ohio has won its last 10 ball games. And welcome, everybody. Along with Gerard Cherry, I'm Doug Sherman. Glad you're with us. And as the Bobcats look to protect their home field, the Huskies are desperate for a win as we've reached the midpoint of the MAC season. But these are two traditional rivals, and we're expecting a very good game.
We certainly are. And, Doug, we talked so many times about the idea of football being the ultimate team sport. And with that comes complementary football. But we may have a situation today, folks, in which we have an individual matchup between a quarterback and a linebacker in which it can have a great impact on the outcome of the game. And that linebacker I'm talking about is Quinn Erweiler. He is a sideline-to-sideline tackler. He is everywhere involved intricately in this defense for Northern Illinois. And what impresses me is the fact that he's a hard-hitting guy, but he also does the play calling as well with that green dot on his helmet. And he'll be responsible for doing what? He'll have to slow down and stop one Parker Navarro. And Parker Navarro, I'm trying to ascertain, is he a quarterback disguised as a running back or a running back that can play quarterback? But with that being said, what impresses you is that he has the ability to distribute the football, be it run or pass. He is truly a dual threat quarterback, and how he goes, generally speaking, is how the offense functions for the Ohio Bobcats.
And it's going to be hard to beat the conditions today. 82 degrees, partly sunny on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon for football. Here in Ohio, the hill is largely full to our right. The stands are filling in, and we're hoping it's a similar feel to a few weeks ago when West Virginia came to town and they had the biggest crowd they've ever had here, and it helped the Bobcats upset the Mountaineers. Now, this is a dangerous home team, and for Northern Illinois coming in, they have lost 5 in a row, 1-5 overall, 0-2 in league play. But in talking to their head coach, Thomas Hammock, earlier this week, you asked him about the morale of the team, and he said it's good. We've just got to find a way to make plays. They're doing a lot of things well. They're just not making big plays.
Exactly. In situational football, they're certainly not getting the job done. And the defense, to their credit, has been playing very well. It's just simply put, we talk about complementary football, and one aspect of that is making sure your special teams contributes as well as your offense. And unfortunately for Illinois thus far, Northern Illinois that is, they have not done a superb job of complementing great play on the defensive part with special teams and offensive play.
Yeah, last week for Northern Illinois at Eastern Michigan, they lost 16-10 despite having 0 penalties and running for more than 200 yards. That's hard to do.
Yeah, that sounds like the victory, but it ended up being defeat.
And so he says, we don't have a loser's limp. We are still together and ready for football. Northern Illinois won the toss and receives the opening kick, which goes sailing over the head of Devion Reynolds for a touchback. And it'll be the offense for the home team coming out first under the direction of the aforementioned two-time captain, a graduate from Tempe, Arizona, Parker Navarro. Check that. Northern Illinois gets the football first. And so we will start with Brady Davidson. He's a guy who checks all the boxes when you look at him. 6'5", 224. But they're going to go with Josh Holst as Davidson started last week. We may see 3 quarterbacks, and from what we understand during practice this week with Coach Hammock, each of the 3 were getting more reps with the ones. What we do know is that the running game is stout. Telly Johnson, who leads the MAC at over 6 yards per carry, gets the first touch, and he is tackled for no gain.
Right, and Telly Johnson will call his name early and often throughout the course of the game, and he certainly has home run hitting capability in which he could take it to the distance.
All right, so we set up Josh Holst, a 6'4" redshirt junior from Marengo, Illinois, who was the starting quarterback to begin the year for Northern. He has completed 60% of his passes, and it's no surprise that he gets another opportunity here at Ohio, at least to start. Rolling to his left has a man just off the fingertips of Diari Rogers, the dangerous #1 receiver for Northern Illinois.
Yeah, nice coverage on the part of Michael Mack II in that he was glued to Diari, and that's exactly what you want. Put the receiver in a situation where he doesn't have much room to operate on that boundary area to make a very difficult catch, and obviously the pass was overthrown, but that's a nice start for Michael Mack.
3rd down and 10 Third down conversions have been a problem for the Huskies, not surprisingly this year, only 27%. Rodgers motions out of the backfield into the slot to the top of your screen. Pulls, pumps, still has his eyes downfield, now gets rid of the football. It's caught at the 25, but two defenders are right there to make sure Gary Gibbons III goes nowhere. It's a gain of 3 and will bring up 4th down and 7.
And Josh Holtz had a lot of time to pass the football, but the problem was there was no one open down the field. As he surveyed it and as he rolled it to the left and to the right, could not find an open receiver, had to settle for a short pass that puts them nowhere near the 1st down marker, and they'll have to punt.
Jake Ferentz, a true freshman from St. Louis, will punt it away. Received at the 35 with room to run. Big return by Chase Hendricks. Inside the 30, inside the 20, and finally tripped up. But the dangerous junior return man from St. Louis with a huge spark to start off homecoming for the Bobcats.
And what I love about Chase is that he goes straight ahead. A lot of times guys will juke around, move around, and not go straight up the field. But Chase says, you know what? I am going to go straight ahead. And he would have had this crowd go nuts had he scored. But that's an excellent return, and that's just exactly how you want to start off your offensive campaign, with great field position.
And there is Parker Navarro, who began his college career at UCF, spent a couple of years in Orlando before transferring north. The running back is C.A. Bangura, one of the best in the Mid-American Conference. Navarro turns the corner, picks his way inside the 5, doesn't quite get to the pylon, forced out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
And one of the things about Parker that just impresses me, Doug, is the fact that he takes so many hits, but you would never know, and how he bounces back up and responds well. And right there, just give credit to the offensive line as well as the receivers, and that they did a nice job of blocking so that he could pick up those positive yards.
1st and goal from inside the 5-yard line. Navarro gives straight up the middle for a touchdown. It is C.A. Bangura, the redshirt senior from Bowie, Maryland.
Spent some time in Bowie, Maryland, one of my favorite soul food restaurants, All Carolina Kitchen. And I'm pretty sure Say has been there on plenty of occasions, but right there, he got the job done, and he's cooking.
Well, he's a young man out of DeMatha Catholic High School in Washington, D.C., who spent his first 3 years rather, of college here at Ohio, transferred out to Minnesota and came back. He's part of the group being honored today on Senior Day as well as homecoming. The point after by David Dellenbach is good. It's a 2-play, 14-yard drive set up by the long return by Chase Hendricks. A quick start on homecoming. A 53-yard return sets up the short TD run by C.A. Bangura. Well, there must be something about homecoming games that agrees with C.A. Bangura. Now, in 4 years on homecoming here in Athens, he has scored 7 touchdowns, including to start things off with a bang here.
Yeah, those homecoming rallies must really encourage him to play at a higher level, and give credit to this Ohio Bobcats football team in that you saw complimentary football on display there. The defense gets a 3-and-out scenario, special teams has a big return, and then the offense gets the job done by scoring that touchdown.
Dellenbach will kick it off, and now this is a huge test as far as I'm concerned for Northern Illinois. This game couldn't have started any worse. They had a 3-and-out, bad punt coverage, and then no resistance on defense. Can they step up in the midst of a 5-game losing streak and stop it right here and now? Devion Reynolds, the return man, has no play, and so once again Northern Illinois' beleaguered offense will come out. And again, it appears that it'll be Josh Holst at quarterback. The last couple of weeks.
Offside, kicking team number 6. 5-yard penalty will be handed to the dead ball spot. First down.
Our referee Rich Edwards with the penalty. But Northern Illinois has tried 3 different quarterbacks. And if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. When you have 3 quarterbacks, do you really not have one? I mean, it's been a problem position this year.
Exactly, and as we know, the quarterback position is the most important position on the football field. And if you're struggling in that area, generally speaking, you're going to definitely struggle on offense, and it fluctuates and goes throughout the entire football team, those struggles.
So after the 5-yard penalty, this drive begins at the 30-yard line for Northern Illinois. Holst hands it off. This is what Northern Illinois is all about. Lazaro Rogers, their true freshman running back from Fort Myers, Florida. He has shown home run capability on his first touch, picks up 9.
And give credit to this offensive line. You have a trap block situation where Lazaro says, you know what, I'm going to make a good read and a nice cut to go along with it and pick up positive yards. This is the type of down and distance that Northern Illinois is not accustomed to, second and short. They definitely can open up the playbook.
DJ Walker, the strong safety, came up to make the tackle on play action. Plenty of time. Holst going to try to run for it, little stiff arm, and he's able to get out to the 42-yard line. That'll move the sticks.
And that's the luxury of having a short down and distance, in that you hold on to the football, you still pick up positive yards for a first down. There's no one there. Don't force the issue. Be smart with the football, and you'll take that type of play in order to move the sticks.
Well, as we mentioned off the top, these have been 2 traditionally of the better teams in the Mid-American Conference. The series history shows it's been very competitive, although this is the last time for the foreseeable future these 2 teams will meet, as NIU is bound for the Mountain West Conference next year. Telly Johnson Jr. dropped for a yard loss. It'll be 2nd and 11 at the 40-yard line. Now Johnson is another home run hitter. Should I say kind of the Shohei Ohtani of this offense?
Yeah, that's saying he's pretty prolific. Not sure if we want to give him that much credit.
Well, he
certainly is productive.
80-yard touchdown run the last time out. Had a 74-yard touchdown run against Maryland. Good catch by the tight end Jake Applegate. They say he's got the best hands of the receiving corps, but only 2 yards after that catch, and it'll bring up 3rd down and long.
Yeah, nice play design on the part of Northern Illinois, but give credit to this Ohio Bobcat defense. One of the things that you're taught to do is play sound defense, and what that means is that you have to swarm and run to the football and make sure that you have your contain and force areas covered up, and they certainly did on that play, hence the short gain.
Northern Illinois' only win so far this season came in late August against FCS opponent Holy Cross, and that was not easy either, 19-17.
No, it wasn't.
They have not tasted victory since. Holst over the middle, over the head of Rogers, incomplete.
And that's just a situation in which the reps, the amount of time worked together hasn't been there, because there have been so many exchanges of the quarterback position. So getting familiar with your receiver is a very hard thing to do in the midst of a football season, hence why you like to have that covered prior to the season starting during training camp. But once again, the Bobcats find a way to get off the football field, and Northern Illinois is punting. And
so once again, Chase Hendricks, who is only the punt returner because of the injured Max Rodarte. Hendricks with a fair catch. Flag comes in. at about the point he was making the catch. Rodarte was injured week 4 against Gardner-Webb, was carted off with a lower left leg injury. But Hendricks, who was the #1 receiver on the team, pretty good option.
During the kick, holding, return team number 4. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down. Timeout for media.
So off the penalty against Ricky Hyatt Jr., we will take a break. Ohio with the early 2-yard touchdown run from C.A. Bangura on homecoming with the early 7-0 lead. A Chase Hendricks 52-yard punt return, the best of the season for him, set up a very short field, and on their first possession, the Bobcats took advantage.
That's right. Great blocking on the part of the punt return team, as well as just simply put execute on Hendricks' part. But you love what Navarro does with the football. He's a magician. And then Say says, you know what? I'm going to finish off what you could not do, Parker, and score 6 points for the touchdown.
And as we mentioned, Bangura transferred to Minnesota last year, and he actually watched the MAC championship game with his former teammates, the Bobcats, playing in it from his dorm room last year at Minnesota. And as he wasn't playing all that much for the Golden Gophers, he said, you know what? I want to go back home.
Yeah, he envisioned himself in a Bobcat uniform and said, I'm going to bring myself and my talents back to Athens, Ohio. And he certainly is an intricate part of this rushing attack and the offensive overall production for the Ohio University Bobcats.
And he has been for a long time. The 2022 MAC Freshman of the Year, third-team All-Conference as a first-year player 4 years ago. Went over the 1,000-yard rushing mark. So a huge weapon in the backfield for head coach Brian Smith. Mason Williams, the starting tight end, in motion. Navarro going deep down the middle. Had single coverage and took a shot, but just overthrew the intended receiver, Dom Dorwart.
Yeah, you like first down play, take a shot, got opportunity to really send a message to the Northern Illinois Huskies. But right there, just a simple overthrown football, nothing more, nothing less. But he certainly had the inside leverage on the would-be defender, Dom Dorwart.
Navarro, a fourth-year quarterback for the Bobcats, who waited his turn and has emerged as, over the last 2 years, one of the better quarterbacks in the Mid-American Conference. On the roll, finds the open man Good job to find that opening by Chase Hendricks. And once again, the former 3-star recruit who out of high school, Gerard, was offered by Texas, Colorado, West Virginia, Kansas. He is a big weapon for Ohio.
Right. He's taken that role as a slot receiver, and that's a very important position in this offense, and he's done exceptionally well with his production, his ability to make plays, and now just a head-up smart play on his part.
Yeah, 31 catches, now over 500 receiving yards this season for Hendricks. Bangura doesn't get touched until he gets across the 40-yard line. It's another big pickup for the Bobcats.
Yeah, and the Bobcats are in the midst of a very methodical drive. You're seeing pass and run options taking place. And what does that do to a defense? Well, it puts you on your heels, and it puts you in a spot, if you are the defensive coordinator, Rob Harley, for the Huskies, in which, what do you call? Because they're just having success with everything they're running so far.
Yeah, this defense for Northern Illinois has been extremely good against the pass this year. Not on that one. Again, Hendricks finds an opening in the middle, and it's an easy pitch and catch as they drive down the field with another first down.
Yeah, and as a positional player, you love what Chase Hendricks is doing in that he's finding that opening in the defense where, okay, let's sit down in an area where my quarterback can locate me and I can make it an easy pass and catch situation.
Well, earlier this month, Hendricks was named to the 2025 Biletnikoff Award watch list, which goes to college football's top receiver, not just running back, anybody who catches a pass, as potentially the best receiver in the country. First down from the Northern Illinois 44-yard line. Going to keep it on the ground. Bangura moves the pile for a pickup of 2.
And what you like about that run, though it wasn't much in the yardage and production standpoint, is the fact that you saw a great push and surge on the part of the offensive line for the Bobcats. And ultimately, as this game goes on, it wears a defense down.
A terrific crowd here on homecoming. Also Hall of Fame weekend. Just a perfect day for football here in Athens, Ohio.
I thought they were coming because we were here.
Maybe you. Navarro fires, caught. Rodney Harris, the second, the number 2 receiver for the Bobcats, with his first catch of the afternoon, his 12th on the year.
Yeah, and Rodney runs what we call a dig route, and there's nothing fancy about it. He just takes the inside cut. You see Navarro has all the time in the world to deliver a pass, no distress. He throws an accurate pass.
Rodney's another guy coming out of high school, had offers at the Power Conference level, instead chose to come here in Ohio. And the redshirt junior out of Princeton High School in Cincinnati has his second reception.
Now Rodney shows us another element of the route tree in that he does a deep comeback, and Navarro shows you his arm strength as well to throw an accurate pass on the sideline to hit Rodney Harris second. And that's exactly what you want, a situation where only he can catch the football out of the reach of a defender.
1st and 10 at the Huskies' 16-yard line. Navarro gives to Bangura. Battle of wills up the middle. And as has been the case so far today, the Bobcats get the better of that push. It's a solid gain on first down.
Right. And what you appreciate about the run, Doug, is that Bangura is doing what? Moving his feet, inflicting pain in the process as well. When you're a physical running back, you definitely want to leave a message to the defenders that, hey, I'm not going to be easy guy to bring down and tackle.
And he does it all for his mom, Maysray. They are extremely close, talk every day. Ever since he was a youth football player, Mom has been in the stands virtually every single game. Her baby gets pushed out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Yeah, right there. Her baby did not have much running room right there because Northern Illinois did a nice job of doing what? Forcing the issue and having contain. Whenever you have contain and force on the defensive side of the ball, generally speaking, you're going to make some good plays. And right there, Northern Illinois did just that.
On 3rd down this year, Ohio is converted over 40% of the time. On 3rd down and 3. Navarro calls his own number, makes a man miss, and he gets to the goal line and into the end zone for a touchdown. The Mike linebacker, Quinn Erweiler, had a shot, but a quick move by Navarro opened things up.
Yeah, we spoke about it pregame, and that Quinn Erweiler will be designed to do what? Stop one Parker Navarro. And right there, Parker Navarro got the best of him. Gave him a nice stutter step, slowed him down, and then used his speed to get to the end zone for another Bobcat score.
On that drive, Navarro completed 5 of his 6 passes for 63 yards and then runs it in for the touchdown that makes it 13-0. Dellenbach's PAT up and through to make it 14-0. The Bobcats looking to get back over 500 on the season and over 500 in MAC play, off to a terrific start. 14-0 as guided by their all-conference quarterback, Parker Navarro.
If you look around what's going on in the conference, other teams also have 2 losses, and there are teams that have a loss that we play. So our mindset has not changed. We know that if we do win out, we have the possibility of making it to Detroit still. So we just keep that mindset. We have great leadership. You know, I don't think the leaders on this team would let our attitudes drop in any way or manner. So, yeah.
That's Jelani Williams. He and fellow defensive end Roy Williams really are the tone setters defensively, and they establish the standards on and off the field for this team, hold teammates accountable. And, of course, that soundbite was taken from earlier this week before this slow 14-0 start. At what point does that begin to fray? Because truly coming out of the field today, if they win out, in the words of Eastern Michigan head coach Chris Creighton, the MAC is a bloodbath this year. He thinks 1 or maybe two-loss teams will be in the MAC championship, so the Huskies still have hope. But when you start like this, where do you go?
Yeah, offside, kicking team, number 3. 5-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Yeah, parity's certainly in full effect in the MAC. But what do you have to do is at this juncture, settle down. You need some positive plays on offense. Give this defense some hope that they can get back in this game, because it's fair to say that it seems like that long punt return broke the will and spirit of the defense that Jelani Williams anchors.
And so now the Northern Illinois offense back out for a third time. They have gotten 1 first down so far, 15 total yards from scrimmage compared to 105 total yards from scrimmage for Ohio. Still Josh Holst making the start at quarterback, out for his third drive of the day. And it's a short 1-yard gain on first down. And if you can't throw the football, how do you open up holes for guys like Telly Johnson to run the football?
Right. Well, it comes down to winning in the trenches. And right now, it is fair to say that the Bobcats are dominating on both sides of the ball when it comes to their fronts, giving push on the defensive side and offensive side.
And there have been changes on the offensive line this week for head coach Thomas Hammock and his offensive coordinator Quinn Sanders, trying to find that right combo. On 2nd and 9, Holst pulls, dumps it off. Pass complete to Pierce Opong, a converted defensive end. Big guy, 264 pounds, from Bloomington, Minnesota. Only able to pick up a couple of yards, and so now 3rd down and long for the Huskies.
Yeah, once again, you find yourself in a bad spot, and this is predictable for you. Chances are you're going to have to pass the football. The defensive coordinator for Ohio knows that, and with him knowing that, he's going to make an appropriate call. But more importantly, what you're seeing is this defensive front get penetration, forcing Holst to throw the football very fast.
And that DC is John Hauser for Ohio. Let's see if he dials up pressure. Jalen Thomas encroaching in on the corner. Instead, they keep it straight up. Bowling his way forward, trying to get a first down, and managing to get there is the fire hydrant of a running back, Chavon Wright, listed at 5'8", 212 pounds. He is the second active rushing leader in the country, over 5,200 yards.
Yeah, fire hydrant, fire plug. One thing he brings is intensity and strength to his run. And I was anticipating the pass, but they went with the running play, and it was the right decision.
Former star at Division II University of Charleston in West Virginia, coming free for the sack. Woo! Jay Crable, one of the big playmakers on this Bobcats defense. His 5th sack of the season. And
Jay Crable hit Josh Holst like he stole something from him. He came with bad intentions on that play right there. Great sack on the part of Jay Crable. We'll get to the quarterback, Josh Holst.
Well, he is the son of Sean Crable, 2007 captain and 2nd-team All-American linebacker at Michigan, who was a 3rd-round pick of the Patriots. His son with another big play here to bring up 2nd down and long. Holst gets rid of the football, but right there waiting, 2 defenders to bring down the receiver, Rogers. That'll bring up 3rd down and 12.
Right, and what is noticeable, Doug, is that there's nothing vertical. It's all horizontal routes with short route combinations due to the fact that, simply put, the offensive line for the Huskies cannot give enough time to Holst to look down the football field for a more vertical passing attack.
The homecoming crowd comes to life on 3rd and long. The running back is Wright.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty.
That is Landon Roan. And the issues continue for Thomas Hammock in his 7th year as head coach at his alma mater. It was just over a year ago he led the Huskies to South Bend, Indiana, and delivered the signature win in program history over Notre Dame, now struggling to move the football against Ohio. Pierre Kameni Jr. makes the tackle to force a 4th down.
Yeah, it is very disheartening right now for this Husky offense in that they recognize that, hey, we cannot hold up with our pass pro to give our quarterback enough time to look down the football field. So what do they have to do? They have to settle for these short passes, are certainly nowhere near the 1st down markers, in order to sustain drives.
I beg your pardon, that was Tank Pearson who made the tackle, number 7, not number 3. And so another sputtered possession leads to what is a punt that's going to come down short and head toward the sideline, down to the 34-yard line. Once again, the Huskies give up the football to the Bobcats, who have good field position.
Right, and if you're going to win a football game, you have to win the hitting yardage, and you have to win in situations in which you complement each other. And a short kick like that does not help the case whatsoever for this defense. You want to pin them back there and make it a much longer proposition for this Bobcat team to drive down the football field. But right here, they received excellent field position due to the fact that the punt was not effective enough.
And now C.A. Bangura will get a break as the second-string running back. Duncan Brune gets an opportunity, and he is as dangerous in many ways as Bangura. Scored 3 touchdowns week 4 against Gardner-Webb. Similar type running backs.
Straight ahead, a cloud of dust.
And with some good speed to boot. Able to get back just across the line of scrimmage. The tackle made by Mark Hensley, one of the captains up front. Young man from Labadie, Missouri. There's a good look at Duncan Brune. 5'11", 218 pounds, a sophomore from Cologne, Germany. On second down, Navarro fires near side. It's dropped in and out of the hands of Hendricks. He's had a couple of drops the last couple of weeks. Seemed to take his eye off that one. Yeah,
and that's the situation when you see a guy as sure-handed as Hendricks is, thinking, okay, what am I going to do once I catch the football? As opposed to just simply catching the football. We've seen him make some incredible in-traffic plays, so I know he's certainly capable of catching that pass.
Excuse me, Gerard. He's got as good a hands as anybody. Big playmaker. He has emerged this year. He was the number 3 wide receiver in Ohio's offense last year and is a true MAC number 1 this fall. Navarro flushed, being chased, able to get rid of the football and find a man for a first down pass and catch. Nicely done by Parker Navarro to keep that play alive and get the football downfield to Duncan Brune.
Yeah, and it's good to see them get their running backs involved in the passing game. And what you appreciate is the fact, again, that Navarro is spreading the ball across the field to all his receivers.
That's the end of the first quarter with Duncan Brune helping to lead the Bobcats down the field on top by a 14-0 score. Big crowd here in Athens enjoying the start as the Bobcats lead 14-0 over the Huskies. Big crowds follow when you win football games, and that's been the case here at Ohio University. The Bobcats, the reigning MAC champs. They lost their head coach Tim Albin after their record 11-win season. He took the job at Charlotte, but they've not missed a beat in terms of fan engagement. Brian Smith ascending from coordinator to head coach and trying to keep the Bobcats at or near the top of the Mid-American Conference. First play of the second quarter, and Navarro smartly throws the football away as everybody was covered downfield.
Yeah, and a much better job on the part of the Huskies of putting pressure on Navarro and get him in a space to where he was uncomfortable in the pocket and had to throw the ball out of reach of anyone.
What a day it was, September 6th, when the West Virginia Mountaineers made the 2.5-hour drive from Morgantown to come here and lose a football game in front of a record crowd of over 26,000. We don't know the numbers on our crowd here today at Peden Stadium, but it's going to be probably fairly close to that. Duncan Brune makes a nice jump cut, then takes on a tackler and continues to push forward. They mark him just shy of a first down. It's a gain of about 10 yards for third down and short.
And I love Brune's running style in that he wants the contact and he wants the physical play, because right there as he's running through the hole, he's looking for defenders to run into as opposed to avoiding them. And that's a really nice pickup, giving you a much more manageable third down distance to contend with.
Well, their offensive coordinator, Scott Isfording, told us this week, we've got to get him the football more. Duncan Brune is a dangerous weapon. The Bobcats 2 for 2 on third down so far this afternoon. Third down and less than a yard. Handed off to Brune. He's got enough of a crease, and he falls forward easily for a first down.
Yeah, once again, Bobcats are in that methodical drive where they're just pounding, be it run or pass, this Huskies defense.
Well, they say he's like the Terminator, Brune is, in his mentality and his physicality. Chase Hendricks takes the screen and gets out of bounds after a short gain.
Yeah, and with Brune, you see it in the way in which he pass protects and that he takes on the blitzers with a physicality and how he runs. And certainly that sends a message to the defensive front that, hey, this guy's not an easy guy to bring down.
Well, Brune apparently, as the officials have to step in, as a couple of the Huskies were lingering near the Bobcats sideline, Jacob Finley among those ushered away. As we've got a stoppage in play. We'll take a break. Early second quarter. Ohio up by 2 touchdowns over Northern. Brian Smith in his 4th year on staff, first as head coach, promoted to head coach last December after Tim Albin left for Charlotte. A couple of days later, won the Cure Bowl and then was given the job permanently. He's got a run-and-shoot background. He worked under former NFL head coach Jerry Glanville at Portland State. He played for June Jones at Hawaii, still close with both those guys.
Yeah, certainly some run-and-shoot ties right there. And to their credit, Frank Solich to Albin to Smith, they've done a great job of keeping the culture in place in Athens, Ohio.
And apparently Coach Glanville still lives in the Toledo area, and he stood on the Ohio sidelines for the MAC championship game between Ohio and Toledo a couple of years ago, and the Rockets fans weren't all that happy about it. Chase Hendricks with another big play, this time on the receiving end from Parker Navarro.
And Chase has done a really nice job throughout the course of this game so far of just finding that open spot in the zone to put himself in a position to receive passes from Navarro. Very impressive how these two are connecting, and they're making it easy because, simply put, they're going where the defenders are not.
And he's just been the latest in a terrific line dating back to Poppy White of excellent slot receivers for the Bobcats.
Right, Poppy White, I believe he wore number 4 back in the day. Very prolific pass catcher for the Bobcats.
And there goes number 7 Hendricks out of the slot. Brune up the middle, fumbled the football. Ohio jumps on it, so the Bobcats will keep it on their own 5-yard or on the 5-yard line. Good job by Davion Weatherspoon, the left guard, to hop on that loose ball.
Yeah, AKA Spoon did a great job of being Johnny on the spot and hustling over to that football as you see him accelerate and dive on top of it to recover the fumble.
And we've got an injured Husky once again. Yeah, the offensive coordinator, Scott Isfording, says Davion Weatherspoon's story is better than the blindside story. Young man out of Detroit, Michigan, who has found himself a new family here in Athens.
That's right. And the beautiful thing is that he's taken full advantage of his opportunities. Had several situations where he converted to different positions, but found a home as a guard. And Coach Isfording said, well, simply put, what does he do? He blocks guys.
Yeah.
He finds a way to get the job done. He doesn't have the physical stature that you necessarily look for, but he finds a way to get the job done.
Yeah, listed at 6 feet. Coach Izzy says maybe he's 5'11", but he says he's a leverage machine.
Exactly. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is leverage. Football's a game of leverage.
Well, good to see the injured Husky backup Will linebacker Mark Preto back on his feet, being helped off the field. By the way, our previous stoppage was for an injury to Jasper Beeler, their excellent safety. He walked off under his own power. But with the Bobcats driving the football right down the field, the Huskies have been loath to be able to stop them so far.
Right. We talk about leverage. And if you're in a spot where your job is to take away the inside and you're able to do that, I don't care if you're 5'3" or 6'3". If you're able to do that, you're going to be an effective football player, especially as a lineman.
C.A. Bangura back at running back. Handed off to him. Number 5 takes a hit, keeps on his feet, and is into the end zone for his second touchdown of the afternoon.
And from the start of that run, you knew this Bangura would not be denied. And give credit once again to Weatherspoon as well as Rhodes, who did a phenomenal job of providing the necessary spacing from a run blocking standpoint to allow Bangura to get to the end zone once again.
You know, everybody's goal is to make it to the NFL like you did for so many years coming out of Cal. Bangura went last year as a transfer to Minnesota thinking that would help to get him there. Didn't have the opportunity to play as much as he wanted, but, you know, NFL scouts are still watching him here. And with a productive final season, who knows what the future will hold.
Right, that's a very interesting perspective because I don't think that's no longer the case, and it's not been that way for a while. Wherever you're at, they're going to find you.
No doubt. Ohio with 3 possessions and 3 touchdowns, 2 of them capped off with the legs of C.A. Bangura in the end zone. On a sun-splashed afternoon in Athens, Ohio, the Bobcats have had the football 3 times and have found the end zone 3 times. The last one, a 10-play, 66-yard drive, covering 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Bangura's second touchdown of the game. And another illustration of just how dominant Ohio has been so far. Plays in the opponent's territory. Ohio 15, Northern Illinois 0.
Yeah, that's a prime example of what happens when you play complementary football, and that the defense is forcing 3 and outs and setting great field position for the offense along with the play of the special teams.
Dellenbach, the redshirt freshman place kicker from Park City, Utah, boots it short. It's caught at the 13. Here come the Huskies, and here comes Devion Reynolds. Finally tracked down at the 20-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle by Iman Dennis.
And Devion does exactly what you're supposed to do. Run where you see daylight, and he certainly sees it, turns up the Jets, but gets tracked down. And this is not the first time he's had a big return. He had a touchdown versus Holy Cross in which he took it all the way to the house. But right there will certainly give some energy and motivation to that much sideline is much needed on the part of the Huskies because they have been struggling.
Yeah, that one was a 96-yard return for a touchdown week 1 against Holy Cross you're talking about. This obviously the best starting field position. First play from the Ohio side of the football as Josh Holst on a designed quarterback run, chased out of bounds by Adonis Williams Jr.
A minimal gain once again because of the fact that the Bobcats are doing a stellar job of doing what they're supposed to do from a defensive perspective, in that you have a guy in the boundary area forcing it back in, and you have someone there to contain to make a play.
And it's another opportunity for Northern Illinois where they really have to seize the moment. If they want to turn the momentum and keep their season from spiraling out of control, they've got to score, not just a field goal on this drive. Chavon Wright bottled up almost immediately, and once again they're facing 3rd down and long.
Right, and if you're Ohio, you're thinking, okay, what running play are they going to throw our way? It's going to be something misdirection. It's going to be some type of run RPO. With the more likely keeping the football as opposed to passing. But this is huge right here for Northern Illinois to get back in this football game, because you certainly want to pick up a first down and put yourself in a situation where you can score a touchdown. That will certainly help the momentum.
And can they get vertical? Holst is 5 of 7 passing, but only for 15 yards. They need to get to the 10. Applegat gets that first down, the longest pass completion of the day so far, and Northern Illinois has the football, 1st and goal.
Right, and there Applegat did a really fine job of just picking up yards after catch. And obviously he's not known for being a run after catch guy, but that's exactly what he needed to do, is get to those sticks, because once again it was a short pass, but he turned something into something more promising.
Good pursuit by Anas Lukman to make the tackle. Both tight ends shift from the left side to the right side of the formation. Throw it up, jump ball in the end zone to the taller receiver. We've got a flag. Nonetheless, the football is caught for a touchdown.
And that's just an excellent job of pass and catch between tight end Jake Bruno and his quarterback.
Pass interference, defense, number 7. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is the touchdown.
Create a physical mismatch. That's exactly what they did right there. Create a situation where you have a shorter, undersized defender against a taller, bigger player. And they executed that to perfection.
So Northern Illinois takes advantage of the big play on the terrific return, and now they're going to go for 2. Trips to the field side. Holst looking that way, set up the bubble screen, and walking into the end zone for the 2-point conversion is George Demopoulos. So something positive here for Northern Illinois early in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, that's a momentum changer right there. Great job on the part of Northern Illinois. watching them play some complementary football with special teams and the offense.
And not just satisfied with 6, they go for 2, and it's the first 8 points of the day for Northern Illinois, looking to snap their 5-game slide. What a moment for redshirt freshman tight end Devin Akers, his first career collegiate catch, and it goes for a touchdown.
That's right, 6'7" tight end versus a 5'9" cornerback. Do the math on that. Great play design of taking advantage of mismatch on the part of Northern Illinois.
And for Josh Holst, he did a nice job at quarterback,
Yes.
putting the football where it needed to be.
Yeah, putting his tight end in a position to succeed with that very accurate pass.
And then the move to go for 2 has Northern Illinois within 13 points. And now can the defense make its first stop? This will be Ohio's 4th drive of the game, and they have yet to punt the football or give it up. They have wound their way to the end zone every single time. And you may notice there the helmets. I love the helmet stickers. It's an homage to the Bill Hess era that dates back into its later years in the mid-70s. He was the head coach. There it is. That was kind of the look 50 years ago. And it makes sense on homecoming to do that. The coaches also are wearing special ball caps today with the old style O on there. And Coach Hess guided the Bobcats back to the 1960 Small School National Championship, one of the great names around this complex.
I'm so jealous of these players. We got one helmet and you were stuck with it.
Dom Dorwart with his second reception of the day. It's an 8-yard gain off the pass from Parker Navarro. You make it sound like you played back in the 40s. Come on, man.
No, I'm just telling you, there was no uniform changes. It was a home and away jersey. There were no different helmet combinations or pant combinations. It was just, here's your uniform, take it and deal with it.
Fake the handoff to Bangura. Dangerous pass that's hauled in. Navarro put it in a dangerous spot, but his receiver fights it away from a couple of defenders. Once again, it's Chase Hendricks showing his good hands.
Right. You say that Chase is really good at catching in traffic, and he certainly is, and he did it just there. The ball was slightly thrown behind him, but he's a sure hand receiver, hence why Navarro will throw it to him, because he certainly trusts Chase to make the play.
1st and 10 at the 41-yard line of Ohio. The 11th first down of the afternoon for the Bobcats. Bangura tucks the football away. Able to get 2 yards when it looked like he might be dropped for a loss.
And what we're witnessing right now is just a slowdown of tempo on the part of the Bobcats, in that they're taking their time with it, not rushing to the line of scrimmage. You saw some semblance of an offensive drive on the part of the Huskies. So let's say, you know what, let's keep those guys on the sideline and let them cool down so they don't remain hot. Very smart play calling right there on the part of head coach, offensive coordinator Brian Smith.
Pressure off the edge. Bangura straight up the middle. Tackle at the 48-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Well, you know, we talked a few minutes ago about Bangura's decision to transfer up to Minnesota last year. Didn't get a lot of run for the Golden Gophers. Decided to come back. I don't know if NIL was a big factor. I'm not sure if he was thinking he would enhance his stance in the eyes of NFL scouts. But either way, if you play in the MAC and succeed, you can get to that next level just as well as you can from the Big Ten.
Yeah, and he probably fell victim to the idea of thinking that because the competition with a Power 4 team is greater than what you experience, that he'll help his opportunities. But at the end of the day, they have the analytics, they have all the metrics in place to identify who you are and if you can succeed at the next level.
Navarro calls his own number, and he's going to be very close to 1st down yardage, and they will move the sticks. Yeah, is it better to be a potentially all-MAC running back and a 1,000-yard rusher on a winning team, or to be an afterthought on a Minnesota roster where you're kind of lost in the shuffle?
Right. There are a lot of guys that have a similar skill set as you, and they're more likely maybe loyal to them because they've been in the program longer. But at the end of the day, if you can make plays, and in his case, can you contribute on special teams? Can you be a 3rd down back? That will give you a shot and opportunity to play in the National Football League.
Yeah, as you know all too well, you can either extend your career on the back end or get yourself with a foot in the door in the NFL if you can contribute on special teams. You've got 3 Super Bowl rings to show for it. Bangura, gain of 7. And Bangura, at 6 feet 216, he is solid. He is ready to compete at the next level if he gets that opportunity. And I should say when he gets that opportunity.
Right. Yeah, because he'll certainly get a tryout and opportunity going into someone's camp. Question remains, will you get drafted? That's probably what is his primary concern. But once again, it's about getting your foot in the door and letting the rest take care of itself once you get that opportunity.
Well, over the years, the Bobcats have produced 46 NFL players. He would love to be number 47. Up top, down the sideline, Dorwart tries to adjust to the football. The flag comes, and we're going to have pass interference.
Let them play, let them play.
Jacob Finley was in coverage, the cornerback from Birmingham, Alabama.
Pass interference, defense, number 3. 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Well, one thing that's been established is that Dom Dorwart is their go-to deep receiver, in that you see both these guys fighting and jostling for position. And then ultimately, one of the field judges makes that call. I would have let him play, but then again, that's the perspective of a former defensive back.
Absolutely. I know by my partner's reaction every single time. Did you play offense or did you play defense? 1st down, Ohio at the 27-yard line of Northern Illinois. 3 receivers to the top of the screen. Going to run it.
Nice play.
To the bottom side. The pitch goes to Bangura to the goal line. Touchdown. 3rd time today Bangura has scored. Ohio answers back to make it 27-8.
Beautiful play and design on the part of the Ohio Bobcats. Apparently there's a penalty on the play. But the play itself was a work of art, in that you outflank them. You have more would-be runners on the side of the football field, and they can bring down the would-be runners. But unfortunately, there's a penalty on the play, bringing it back.
Well, you said off the top you weren't sure whether Parker Navarro was a running back playing quarterback or vice versa. We saw that on the option play right there.
Yeah, and he worked it to perfection. Unfortunately, someone made a mistake on that offensive line or down the football field blocking.
So take the points off the board, push him back 5 yards, 1st and 15 from the 31. Whistle pre-snap.
Prior to the play clock expiring, timeout, Ohio, 1st of the half. 30 seconds.
Can't take them with you. Might as well use them.
Well, it beats taking another penalty and being 1st and 20.
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff obviously Coach Smith wants to eliminate. You have exciting big play, brings the crowd to to their feet, and then you have to call it back due to a penalty. But right now, give credit to Coach Smith because what he's dialing up is working. And I mentioned it earlier, what they're doing, and it's such a astute play. And so much of football is strategy, and we don't give it enough attention, is that you notice how the tempo is slowed down for Ohio? And that's because all of a sudden they got a sense in the field for the Huskies on offense. So what do? You cool them off. Don't let them back on the football field. Don't score quickly because they certainly have a capability to score quickly. A lot of their touchdowns have been in 3- and 4-minute runs. But as you see, they're being real methodical and purposely slowing things down to prevent the Huskies from getting back on the football field on the offensive end.
Navarro gives to Bangura, and he is wrapped up and brought down immediately by Mark Preto. Good to see him back on the field. The former Fordham Ram was helped off earlier in this quarter, but the redshirt junior from Montclair, New Jersey, wrapped him up nicely.
Yeah, he did, because if he did not wrap him up, it looks like Bangura is going to have his 3rd touchdown for the day.
Williams, the tight end. Hendricks in the slot. Rodney Harris all the way to the top of your screen. On 2nd and long, Navarro is drilled. He stays on his feet, gets rid of the football, and throws it away.
Wow.
How about that? Jacob Finley had him dead to rights, and somehow Navarro stayed upright and saved that drive.
Now, that was the same play we saw in which Bangura took it to the house for the score, but obviously there's a run-pass option on that. And Navarro shows you he has Harry Houdini in him as well as he keeps his feet and pulls off a magical trick in that he should have been dead to right sack, but no, he finds a way to get out of that and throw a pass and not sustain a big loss. Very impressive play, though there was no gain on it. What a skill set he possesses. I mean, he has the ability of a running back but plays quarterback.
Well, he was the MAC Offensive Player of the Week after the Rutgers game when he threw for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 93 yards in what was a hard-fought loss to the Big Ten Conference rival, Rutgers. Longest 3rd down facing Ohio today. Again, Houdini avoids the first man, but now will go down. Roy Williams III came in and blew that play up from the start.
That's right. Defensive coordinator Rob Harley said, I've had enough. We are going to bring the pressure and put someone in his face because we cannot let him operate freely in that backfield. So nice job on the part of Northern Illinois bringing the pressure and getting the job done and getting that offense off the field.
Well, we heard from Jelani Williams, the other defensive end, earlier. Roy Williams, 2nd team All-MAC last year when he had 6.5 sacks. 11 career sacks for the senior from Crestwood, Illinois. And so he forces a long field goal attempt. No, it's going to be a pooch punt. And it goes out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. So a very big play by Roy Williams, able to get the defense off the field, and now plenty of time on the clock for this Northern Illinois offense to try and cut into this lead once again.
That's right, and it'll be very interesting to see if Northern Illinois would try to take a more vertical approach with their passing attack as opposed to relying on the shorter intermediate throws.
Here's a look at the scoring drive. Last time Northern Illinois had the football, all set up by the long return by Devion Reynolds.
Right, Devion shows you his speed, and then Host shows you his accuracy. They create a mismatch between a very tall tight end and a short would-be defensive back.
So the touchdown to Devin Akers and the 2-point conversion to George Demopoulos. And let's see, like you said, can they get vertical on 1st down? Holst is going to run the football, slides to avoid contact, shy of the 20-yard line, but it's positive yardage on 1st down. Not much. 2nd down and 9.
Key part, positive, and you will certainly take a positive play if you're Northern Illinois because they have had their struggles today on offense.
Well, Josh Holst is a former walk-on, one of 7 Huskies to start a game this season after coming to NIU without an athletic scholarship. It's all part of the formula for head coach Thomas Hammock and his staff. On second down, he completes the pass to Lazaro Rogers out of the backfield, but no yards after the catch that time. Among those in pursuit, Charlie Christopher, backup Mike linebacker for the Bobcats.
And so far on this drive, we're finding out that no, they're not going to take their shots down the football field because the offensive line they're not feeling right now can hold up. But do not be surprised if the Bobcats bring some type of pressure here to force the issue with Holst.
Diari Rogers, Chavon Wright in the backfield. Now Rogers, the receiver, goes to the slot. Throw far sideline, try to tiptoe along the sideline, but unable to make the catch. Diari Rogers, it's a 3 and out for the Huskies.
And good job on the part of Tank Pearson getting that PBU and breaking that pass up. Nice job of just breaking on the football, reading the eyes of the quarterback, Josh Holst, and making a play. Holst is holding to the football, but boom, right there. Pearson with a nice PBU. That's right, get fired up. He made a heck of a play right there.
He's the fastest guy on defense for Ohio and somebody who continues to draw some interest from NFL scouts when they come here to Athens. Pearson with 7 career interceptions, second-year starter out of Oxford, Mississippi. So after the 3 and out, the punt by Danny Vukovic, fielded at the 35-yard line by Chase Hendricks. And so now the Bobcats get the football back again with plenty of time on the clock. A little under 3 minutes remaining in the first half.
Yeah, something tells me, Doug, they're going to be more up-tempo with their approach. That's what we've seen in the previous drive.
And they are quite capable of putting up the points. That's a 48-yard punt, no return, but the dangerous Parker Navarro comes back out.
And having a quarterback with his skill set is such a luxury because, one, as a defense, you have to worry about him running the football. And I mean running it as if he's a running back, but he still has a skill set and ability to throw it down the football field with the vertical passing game.
Well, as mentioned, they scored 31 points week 1 in a loss to Rutgers, then beat West Virginia week 2, then went to Ohio State and were playing with the Buckeyes until Navarro went down with an injury, and then it got away from them. And then Ohio scored 52 points in a win over Gardner-Webb, scored 35 in a win over Bowling Green, and then the last time out at Ball State, not so good. They lost 20-14, but this is a team that can put up points in a hurry.
It certainly is. And that Ball State loss, it was just a situation where if you look at the numbers, you'll say, how did they lose this football game? But it really was just a collapse of the second half of not playing what we've seen on display so far today, and that is complementary football, where all 3 phases were complementing each other.
The running back is Duncan Brune. 2nd down and 6. Brune gets another carry. Lowers his shoulder. Love his pad level. And it'll be 3rd down and 2. They won't get off a play before the 2-minute timeout. The Bobcats driving the football once again late in the second quarter. The homecoming story so far all positive for the home team. Duncan Brune and the boys in control 21-8. Miami quarterback DeQuan Finn is healthy once again, and it was evidenced today in Oxford. 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs to beat Eastern Michigan, and so that sets up next week's showdown between the unbeatens Western Michigan and Miami. Both are 3-0. The big game on next weekend slate you can see at 3:30 here on ESPN+. With Gerard Cherry, I'm Doug Sherman. Final 2 minutes of the first half here at Peden Stadium, Frank Solich Field, where the hometown Ohio Bobcats lead 21-8 and driving with the football. And now 4th down and short as the ball has been marked. Now the look at Roy Williams III, the senior defensive end from Crestwood, Illinois. So yeah, don't look now, but DeQuan Finn, the former Toledo Rockets all-conference quarterback who transferred up to Baylor, didn't get the opportunity he wanted, now is back and has overcome an injury, has Miami looking every bit like a team that will be in the MAC championship game after handling Eastern Michigan today. Western Michigan has the week off, so that will be the big game next weekend.
That just tells you the level of bizarreness with college football, in that Finn was the poster child, if you will, for the Toledo program.
Yep.
Now he finds himself going to Baylor, and now he's in Miami playing for the Redhawks. That is fascinating.
4th down and less than a yard. On offense this year, Ohio has converted 5 of its 12 attempts on 4th down. Bangura straight ahead, wrapped up by Quinn Erweiler. They're going to mark him with just enough yardage for a 1st down.
And just enough yardage. That 2nd and 3rd effort helped get the job done, but that was a good job on the part of the Huskies defense of putting up a fight, because he certainly had to earn it.
Good balance for the Bobcats on offense. Working quickly on 1st down. Navarro flushed. Gets rid of the football, and it's incomplete. A flag comes in after Dom Dorwart was unable to pull in that pass.
Illegal touches. Offense number 19. Penalty is the penalty is a loss of down at the previous spot. 2nd down.
And you knew that was coming as soon as you see the side judge without a hat on, because that's what they throw to show that a receiver has left the field, then comes back in and is the first to touch the football.
Which is illegal.
So 2nd down and 10. Flag. Navarro heaves it up, has a wide open man, Caleb Gossett. He's tackled inside the 15-yard line, and now let's see if the play will stand.
And from Navarro's body language, that looks like holding on the part of his offensive lineman.
Well, where the flag was thrown, that also would be a pretty good guess as well.
Holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down. Northern Illinois has elected to have the game clock start on the snap.
That's on Weatherspoon.
And Northern Illinois, to their credit, are forcing these penalties, but also for the Bobcats, they really have to be cognizant of this, Doug, because you had a similar lull take place in the game against Ball State, in which you're dominating the football game, but then you start to self-destruct by making a lot of unnecessary plays and not play clean football, and you end up losing that game. So a lot of football left to be played.
6th penalty of the day against Ohio. Nonetheless, they keep coming. Gossett once again the intended target, and he gets a 1st down.
Yeah, dangerous pass right there by Parker Navarro, barely of the reach of a would-be defender, but Gossett, to his credit, keeps his eye on the football, grabs it for the 1st down.
Gets rid of the football just as he's hit. Diving catch by Hendricks off the feed from Navarro. They are driving into the wind if you're thinking about a field goal. Dellenbach and Peacock share those duties. Neither has had a long field goal yet this year.
And the defenders for Northern Illinois are going to have to do a better job of challenging these receivers for Ohio. Cannot just give these guys 7 to 10 yards of space. They'll nickel and dime you up and down the football field.
Full start. Offense. Not all 11 players were set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, second down. Ohio is using their second charge time out of the half to avoid a 10-second subtraction.
Is that on the quarterback or is that on the player who was not set?
I go with the player not set. The quarterback is counting on you to understand where you should be on the line of scrimmage, because I'm reading things pre-snap to figure out what the defense is doing. I'm also getting a call from the head coach. There's only so much the quarterback can do. I can't turn around and see and go up and down the line of scrimmage and see if you're set. At this point, I got to trust you to be able to do that. So I'm not going to put the onus on Navarro in that situation. But I will say this, as I reiterated earlier, Ohio needs to make sure that they get back to playing clean football and sustain it throughout the course of the entire game. Because as you increase the level of competition, these type of situations can put a football team right back in the game, and you find yourself once again losing the game you have no business losing due to the fact that you're imploding and making too many mistakes at crucial situations.
And keep in mind, Bangura had what would have been his third touchdown of the day wiped off, taken off the board after a penalty. Took its score from 28 back down to 21, and then that turned out to Northern Illinois scoring at the other end. So 21-8 our score. The Bobcats have been in complete control. Seven penalties for 46 yards against the Bobcats here in the first half. And that is just about what they average for an entire game this season. Second and 10. Navarro trying to outrun the linebacker, unable to do it. Nice job of pursuit by Quinn Erweiler. That's how you become the second leading tackler in the nation.
All right, and that time Erweiler won the matchup, because in the previous one Navarro won and ended up scoring 6 points for the score. But right here you see Erweiler say, hey, I got catch-up speed.
Navarro with time. Keeps the play alive, throws it to the end zone into double coverage, and it is intercepted. A dangerous pass that is picked off by James Finley IV.
Ill-advised decision on the part of Navarro. You have double coverage situation, and on top of that, the way you threw the football didn't even put your receiver in a position to succeed, in that you threw more to the defender than your tight end in that end zone area. But right there, need to have more patience. There's 11 seconds on the clock, still plenty of time to operate. Unnecessary interception that'll now go into the stat sheet. Not looking good on your behalf, but right there, no business throwing that play. Too many defenders in the area.
And that is the first career interception for the true freshman out of Portage, Indiana, Andrean High School, James Finley IV, who was a really good get, third highest rated recruit of this year's freshman class, who was offered by Michigan State and also had Ivy League schools in pursuit. So a big play to stop Ohio here with 11 seconds to go in the half. Huskies give the football to Telly Johnson Jr. Takes a pop from Adonis Williams. And the clock stops with 5 seconds to go in the half.
Yeah, Coach Hammond must be one heck of a recruiter. Get him to go from a Power 4 school and also from an Ivy League school. So nice job on his part. Nice play by the freshman, James Finley.
So do you take some sort of shot here with 5 seconds to go, or do you just hand it off to Johnson and hope he breaks one? They hand it to Johnson. Gets to the second level. And finally is going to be picked up and driven back to end the first half.
And he almost broke one.
Which he is quite capable of. The max leader at over 6 yards per carry, but not on that one. Ohio University off to a quick start and holding a comfortable lead heading into the locker room at 21-8.
Yeah, and a lot of that second quarter was marred by Ohio just simply not playing clean football, but give credit to the Huskies in that they did not quit, because it looked for a minute there that the game was going to get completely out of control and that they stood no chance, but they did muster up a fight, and it'll be a very intriguing, interesting second half to see if the Huskies can come back in this football game.
Well, in the one-on-one matchup that we illustrated to start the show, Erweiler has 7 tackles, 3 solos defensively for Northern Illinois, but he and the Huskies have not been able to slow down enough. Parker Navarro, he has a rushing touchdown. Ben-Gura's got a couple. We head to the break with the Bobcats in control, looking to extend their home field winning streak to 11. Our halftime report is just ahead. Halftime here in Athens between the Northern Illinois Huskies and the Ohio Bobcats. We'll be back with more right after this. We're at the midway point between Northern Illinois and Ohio. We'd like to take this time to let you know about the ESPN app. Get all of ESPN college football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. First half highlights and stats when we return to Payne Stadium right after this. Back at the Frank at halftime, Ohio 21, Northern Illinois 8. With Gerard Cherry, I'm Doug Sherman. The Bobcats have controlled in all three phases this football game. And as we show you the first half highlights, it was begun by a first half punt return by Chase Hendricks, 52 yards, and that seemed to get Ohio going.
It certainly did, and Chase just does a great job of seeing the open field and going north and getting positive yards and finding himself getting tackled around by the 13, 14-yard line, but that certainly set up in a pre-position where Bangura did the rest and got the score, and he would not stop there. But before he got active, Navarro said, let me get in on this act, as he gives a nice dead leg move to Quinn Erweiler and won that matchup between the two featured players in today's game. Van Gura, not to be undone, said, you know what, I run with power and I run with authority. I'm going to get into the end zone once again, as he shows his dance moves as well. And then Northern Illinois decided to get involved in it, as Davion got involved with a nice punt return. And he scored before, folks, so we're not surprised that he was able to have a positive play right there. But then the smart matchup right here. Put a 6'7" would-be tight end on an undersized defender and do the rest, and they ended up scoring on that play.
So the touchdown to Devin Akers, the first catch of his collegiate career, allowed for the two-point conversion try that was completed from Holst to Demopoulos. But still the numbers from top to bottom heavily favor Ohio.
Yes, look at that. 245 versus 78. And as you see, third down conversions 4 of 7, 2 of 6 for Northern Illinois. Time of possession also lopsided as well. And total plays really speak to it in that Northern Illinois only had 23 to Ohio's 41.
Navarro 12 of 17 through the air, 148 yards. Bangura 12 carries, 49 yards. As you see, the alumni band has joined the undergrads and filled the entire field here at halftime. Here's Maction for today. Final score, a big one. Miami beat Eastern Michigan 44-30, so the Redhawks remain unbeaten in conference play. Bowling Green, after its unbelievable comeback win over Toledo last week, stumbles against Central Michigan. They're in the fourth quarter at the Glass Bowl, all Rockets as they bounce back against Kent State. Buffalo has yet to lose in conference play this year at 2-0, but being tested in Amherst, down a point to the Minutemen. And then at halftime, Ball State trailing Akron at home 15-14.
Yeah, once again, we are seeing parity in the MAC, but we're also seeing the traditional powerhouses force themselves, and then Toledo making a comeback because last week's loss certainly helped their cause. But yeah, when the MAC conference, when the MAC play, you never know what you're going to get week in and week out. So very impressive what we're seeing here today, though, in that Ohio's trying to reestablish itself as a power in this conference.
Well, the Bobcats head coach Brian Smith said off the bye week, his message, come out and play and finish. Embrace toughness, physicality. We've got to run the football in the second half. Let's see if they can do that and secure the victory. We'll take a break and come back with that third quarter with the Bobcats enjoying a 21-8 lead over the Huskies.
I think every year your seniors are a huge part of who you are, what you represent. And there's a lot of guys within this group that have done a lot for this program. I think it's changed a little bit with the transfer world, is that there's a handful of seniors in there that haven't really been here as long, but there is a good group of guys that, have been a part of not only winning a championship last year, but were a part of the trip to Detroit 4 years ago, and the 3 consecutive 10-win seasons. So there's a lot of guys that have invested in the culture and the development of what this program is and where it's going.
And you saw guys like Jake Bruno, the backup tight end, Doe Boylan, backup running back, ending their college careers soon. It is only the middle of October, but because midweek Maction gets going in a couple of weeks, this is the last weekend home game of the regular season, so that's why we're giving a tip of the cap to the senior class.
That's right, and you will never forget this moment. You'll think about it when you're away from the game, of how special of a moment it is, and that you had the last chance to be in front of your fan base on a Saturday, when obviously college football games typically take place.
Andrew Glass for Northern Illinois tees up the football, and the senior from Wheeling, West Virginia, will kick it off right to left with the wind at his back. He booms it toward the end zone, and it sails over the head of Rodney Harris II. And so the Bobcats will bring their offense out that has been led by their quarterback, Parker Navarro. He has had a very efficient first half. His numbers are good, as you would expect, 12 of 17. He was picked off once, 148 yards, and his primary target, no surprise, Chase Hendricks, 7 catches, 84 yards.
Yeah, they've certainly had their moments in the first half, but if I'm Coach Smith, I'm reminding them of what took place last time they were on the football field in Ball State, and that you played some sloppy football, and that didn't help the cause. So come out here being efficient and clean and moving the football down the field once again.
Yeah, the word of the week was finish. Coming off of that loss at Ball State 2 weeks ago in the bye week, they just kept telling the guys finish. Duncan Brune gets the start to begin the third quarter. Well, and the sophomore running back from Cologne, Germany, picks up a quick 9 yards.
That's a great way to start. I'll take an 8 or 9 yard run.
Navarro bottled up, still on his feet again. He is Houdini, as you said earlier, and somehow able to get himself, it looks like, a first down. Although now they're going to mark him out at the 34.5-yard line, so just shy.
Yeah, I'm going to go right, then I'm going to go back left, and this is one of the nicest half-a-yard games you'll ever see in college football.
Well, Jasper Beeler got there just in time to keep him from picking up that first down, and so now it's third down for Ohio. They have converted 4 of 7, but only 1 of their last 4. Brune remains at running back. And they give it to him, and the young German is off to the races. Inside the 30 to the 10. Touchdown, Ohio.
And you don't want to create scenarios on defense that once the running back gets through this first line that there's no one to stop him. But they were selling out for the blitz, and to their credit, the Bobcats find a way to provide a hole in the opening for Brune, and he does the rest because there's simply put no one in the secondary to slow him down. Great play, great execution on the part of the Bobcats, and that's how you start the second half of a football game on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, Scott Isfording told us this week we've got to get Duncan Brune the football more often. He gets the start at running back in the third quarter, and they just keep feeding him the ball until he breaks it. A 66-yard touchdown run as they go for 2. Navarro floats it up. Wide open in the back of the end zone is Dom Dorwart. But a flag is down at about the 12-yard line.
And it appears it's going to be a situation where there's a legal man down the football field.
Well, a penalty has already wiped out a touchdown for Ohio today. Coach Brian Smith.
An explanation.
Young man from Thousand Oaks, California. Big Dodgers fan. Loved what Shohei did last night.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference in the end zone. However, we do have holding offense number 60. 10-yard penalty, replay the try.
So that is Trent Allen, senior offensive lineman from Windermere, Florida.
And Coach Smith elects to go with the traditional way of scoring after a point.
So the kick team goes back out, led by their redshirt freshman field goal kicker, David Dellenbach.
But once again, penalties negating a positive play. You got to eliminate that if you're the Bobcats.
And these are the things that, if it comes down to it, if Northern Illinois is able to get back in this football game, Ohio will look back at. And a missed field goal. So again, no points on the drive despite the look of putting it in the end zone. Actually, no PAT. That was a PAT after the 2-point try was waved off. But the long touchdown run by Duncan Brune makes our score 27-8. Bobcats over the Huskies. That's Michelle Granger, who might just be the best softball pitcher in the history of USA softball. Her son, Nick Polis, is the backup quarterback at Ohio University. Polis was an Olympic gold medalist. Meanwhile, Duncan Brune's mom was a 4-time Olympic medalist as a swimmer from Germany. 2 silver medals, 2 bronze medals. There's mom and son. And as the story goes, mom used to make son do his push-ups on Christmas morning before he could open his presents. That's how driven an athletic family they are. Her son has gone over 100 yards for the first time in his collegiate football career after the long touchdown run. On the kick return, Northern Illinois is going to have good field position out near the 45-yard line as the offense comes back out. But I want to get back to Nick Polis's mom, Michelle Granger. She was at Berkeley the same time you were playing football there, and you remember his mom being a shutdown pitcher.
Yes, I do, and I can recall one time we were having one of those intercollegiate get-togethers where football, basketball, baseball, softball are all just having a good time at a barbecue, and one of my teammates decided to pick up a bat. And needless to say, once he saw how fast that softball went by him, he put the bat down. She is so impressive and so dominant in college, and obviously an Olympian as well.
Well, Nick Polis's mom had a NCAA record 25 no-hitters at Cal.
Yes.
I wouldn't pick up
Very
a bat
impressive.
either.
She was in the Daily Californian on a weekly basis.
Yes. So her son is the number 2 quarterback behind Parker Navarro. Meanwhile, the Northern Illinois offense trying to turn this first drive of the third quarter into some points. The running back is Telly Johnson Jr. Nice break on that pass for the deflection by Tank Pearson.
And it's going to be very hard to do that if they're not allowing that being Ohio Bobcats, to gash you with the run game, and they're not trying to touch or try anything vertically. So it's going to be very challenging for the Northern Illinois to make any momentum in this game and get down the football field and score. They're going to have to open up this offense, but I believe that the protection won't allow them to do it.
Well, you just don't expect Northern Illinois to ever go away under Thomas Hammock.
Well, they certainly play with heart.
He has built over his 7 years a culture of accountability from the staff down to the very last walk-on. Here's Chavon right out of the backfield, and he is leveled.
Excellent
Michael
tackle.
Mack II with the tackle.
And that's a beautiful open field tackle on a very tough running back in Chavon Wright. Get him in the backfield that way. But once again, we see that if you don't have the ability to go vertical and you're one-dimensional in the passing game, that's not going to help the cause.
And so now Jake Ferentz, who punted 4 times in the first half, out for his first punt of the second, the freshman out of Lafayette High School in St. Louis. It's another 3 and out for this NIU offense. Fair catch inside the 5-yard line. Chase Hendricks makes the catch, and it'll be terrible field position for the Ohio University offense. When we come back, the Bobcats up 27-8, a 50-yard beauty of a punt. Happy homecoming here in Athens, Ohio. For the Bobcats fans, had the parade downtown this morning. And the football game this afternoon at Peden Stadium. And the Bobcats well in control over Northern Illinois. Our score 27-8 early in the third quarter. With Gerard Cherry, I'm Doug Sherman. A terrific crowd for the first half. It's thinned out a bit here in the second half. But nonetheless, Ohio looking very much the part of a team that can compete for back-to-back MAC championships. The reigning league champs are backed all the way up to their own 3-yard line to start this drive. Parker Navarro, the quarterback. C.A. Bangura, the running back. It's Bangura straight ahead, picks his way through the line, and he's got a lot of green grass in front of him. Out across the 30, and finally tracked down by Erweiler at about midfield. Wow.
Bad field position, good field position, it does not matter. This rushing attack has been prolific for the Bobcats. And simply put, Bangura runs the daylight, keeps his feet like all good running backs do, and then puts on the jets. And luckily enough, you have Erweiler on the spot to make a touchdown-saving tackle.
So now Bangura, like Brune, to the 100-yard mark after that 48-yard scamper flips the field. Erweiler goes off after his long sprint to stop the touchdown. Brune back in, lowers his shoulder, picks up a couple of yards.
Yeah, hurting his average. Man.
Big Alvin Gully among those in on the stop. Yeah, Brune's previous career high was 84 yards. He scored 3 touchdowns in the win over Gardner-Webb, but with his long touchdown run earlier this third quarter, he went over 100 yards. Navarro in trouble, spins away from it.
Wow.
Now he's able to get to the 35-yard line and more.
That's all you can say is wow. He should have been tackled for a loss. But Harry Houdini shows up again in the form of Peter Parker Navarro. Watch this right here. All right, I should be tackled. No, I'm not. I'm going to spin out of that, and then I'm going to find a way to get away from another defender, and then make another guy miss, and then another guy, and pick up more positive yards.
How many guys had a shot? I mean, we saw Mohamed
6.
Jameh kind of whiff, try to just hit him and not wrap him up.
Such a weapon.
And as you've talked about, Navarro is as dangerous with his feet as with his arm. Bangura, Brune, and Navarro basically have been a 3-man running show all season for the Bobcats. Almost nobody else has been involved.
Oh, nice
to the
play.
end zone. Harris unable to make the catch. It was Devion Reynolds, the dangerous return man and backup cornerback, with the play.
Yeah, that was a real nice play on part of Devion. He did not hit the receiver too soon, played the hands, and Rodney Harris is not able to come down the TV, but that's a nice play of the hands on the part of Devion Reynolds.
And he's a young man out of Zion, Illinois, who made his collegiate debut as a true freshman in last December's famous Idaho Potato Bowl victory. Key part of the future for the Huskies going forward. 2nd down and 10 for Navarro. Give it to Bangura, and if not for Erweiler's ankle tackle, he may have broken that one.
Ankle, shoestring, I'm not sure which way you want to call it, but yeah.
Man.
Bangura is once again on his way to the house if Erweiler does not make that tackle. And going back to that Idaho Potato Bowl, I always wonder, do you get like a lifetime supply of potatoes if you win that game?
Somebody should.
You really should, right? I know you get fries, and I'm big on fries.
Well, as long as it's not the Mayo Bowl where they dump the mayo over your head, you wouldn't want a bushel of potatoes dumped over your head.
You certainly wouldn't. That might hurt.
But I wouldn't say no to a lifetime of potatoes either. Bangura bounces it outside. Once again, a big play. This time tracked down from behind. After a nice run, Mark Preto with the stop.
And I have not done a good enough job of identifying him, but give credit to Dom Dorwart and the rest of these receivers because they do an excellent job of blocking for Bangura as he's able to get to that 2nd and 3rd level due to the fact that the receivers do such a phenomenal job of blocking downfield.
So Ohio's back in the red zone for the 4th time today. They have scored 3 touchdowns in their previous 3 trips. Brune in at running back. He gets the football. You saw the blocking out in front of him. The tight end Jake Bruno trying to create space.
And you saw Brune say, you know what? I'm avoiding no one. I'm running straight for the defender. Very physical running style on the part of Duncan Brune.
Again, his mom won 2 silver and 2 bronze medals in the '92 Barcelona and '96 Atlanta Olympic Games. A world-class swimmer. Her son just a sophomore running back emerging here at Ohio. Here he goes again. This time the defense collapses around him at the 5-yard line.
And if they can locate a young man in Germany to play collegiate football, when I tell you they'll find you, be it the pro or the collegiate game, the analytics and the information is just out there now due to the advent of social media. You're just going to find players.
Yep. And obviously American football is not the big sport over there. He went against the grain and has trained successfully to be a very competitive MAC running back with a big upside.
Generally speaking, it's about soccer there, and probably followed by basketball.
His dad was a high-level volleyball player. And the son scores again, his second touchdown of the quarter.
He's a force to reckon with, and he has 2 more seasons to go, so get used to that name, Duncan Broom.
Well, he trains in the offseason with the German Olympic bobsled team.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Because if you look at their thighs and what they have to do from a power standpoint,
oh my God,
that certainly can help you as a running back.
Dellenbach out of the hold of Magnus Haynes. And the point after is good. Another impressive drive finished off by the impressive running back Duncan Broom. All 97 yards on that drive were on the ground, and Broom with the final few to make it 34-8 Ohio. The collective running of Bangura, Navarro, and Brune chew up 97 yards on just 9 plays. And Ohio University has really taken hold of this football game.
They certainly have, but we need better form with those cheerleaders with those push-ups. Somebody was cheating down there.
I'm not mad at him. I'd be doing the same thing. Low kick. Returnable out to the 30-yard line. Elijah Porter, backup running back, with that return. As the Northern Illinois gets the football for the second time here in the third quarter. They were 3 and out the first time. Bobcats, meanwhile, have had 12 plays from scrimmage this half, kind of a continuation of what we saw in the first half. And they stick with Josh Holst, who got the start today. The former walk-on began the season as the starting quarterback. Brady Davidson had been the starter recently. We have not seen him. We've not seen the third-string quarterback, Jalen Macon, We've got a couple of drives in last week's game against Eastern Michigan. Holst under pressure. He goes down.
And again, they got the memo. We need some vertical plays, but if you're going to have vertical plays, obviously you need the protection. And in that situation, you want to see Holst step up more in the pocket to avoid that rush. But great job on the part of the Bobcats of getting the pressure and applying it on Holst. That's Joseph Marsh getting the job done.
Yeah, the Boise State transfer, whose 3 immediate family members all were NFL draft picks. The younger brother trying to make the older brothers and his dad proud.
That's some pressure.
Pass completed to George Demopoulos. Yeah, I mean, Marsh's father, Curtis, was a 7th-round pick in '95 by the Jaguars out of Utah. His older brother, Curtis, 3rd-round pick of the Eagles in 2011 out of Utah State. And then Cassius, another brother, was a 4th-round pick of the Seahawks out of UCLA in 2014. So Joseph Marsh has a lot to live up to.
The baby brother certainly has a lot to live up to.
Offside defense with contact, number 10. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Pius Ajugo, the nose tackle, Central Michigan transfer. And so he will hear about it on the sideline.
Out the last 3 weeks. And his play right there puts Northern Illinois in a more manageable down and distance situation for a 3rd down.
Yeah, John Hauser, the DC, says Pius is the most wanting to go hit somebody. Telly Johnson out to midfield. Driven to the turf by Adonis Williams Jr., another one of the guys who NFL scouts are paying attention to on this Ohio roster.
And unfortunately, due to the score, you haven't seen much of Telly Johnson, but I do love the way he runs the football and that it's straight ahead, and he's really effective when he gets the opportunities.
To the air. It is a huge play and into the end zone for a touchdown.
And that is what the doctor ordered. There have been so many misconnections between Northern Illinois quarterbacks and their receivers in plays just like that, but finally you have a connection between D'Ari Rogers and Josh Holtz for the score.
Rogers, the junior from Lexington, South Carolina, off a pretty pass in single coverage easily into the end zone. And so now once again, Northern Illinois will go for 2 after their 2nd touchdown. A 50-yard strike from Holst to D'Ari Rogers. Little trickeration. Give it to Demopoulos, and he's tracked down. Nothing doing, says the defense for the Bobcats.
And Demopoulos had visions of glory and grandeur because he should have passed that football. He thought no one was behind him, but there was a defender obviously trailing him. He'd have been better served to throw that football as opposed to trying to run it in.
Well, Pearson is the fastest defender for Ohio,
and we see why.
Tracked him down.
He certainly ran him down.
Good luck, George Demopoulos, running or outrunning him.
Yeah, but he did have an open receiver briefly in the back of the end zone. Actually, it was a tight end. Jake Applegate was open for a brief moment, but it seemed to me that the opposite was on a mission to run that football in. A nice strike, though, but I will say this for Northern Illinois, that's going to give them some encouragement when they watch the film. Obviously, there's still a lot of time left in this game, but that's a start in the right direction because they really have not had much success with the vertical passing game.
That was a very well-thrown football.
It was. Well-thrown football. Right spot. Rogers does a nice job of keeping his balance, coming down with the football, and then reaching pay dirt.
Holst on that drive, 2 for 3 and 57 yards, including the touchdown, just his 2nd TD pass of the season. And so now Andrew Glass, the place kicker, back out to kick off from the 35-yard line. That'll be a touchback as the Bobcats offense will come back out. Ohio is 1-1 in MAC play, 3-3 overall. They've not lost in this building for a long time. This would be their 11th straight home victory at the Frank. Again, this is now Frank Solich Field at Peden Stadium. Longtime home for this proud program that dates all the way back to 1894. There you see the difference this season between playing at home and playing on the road.
Yeah, they definitely love the home cooking.
Including the big win over West Virginia back in September. Parker Navarro throws it to the near side, caught by Hendricks, who continues to add to what has been a very productive afternoon.
And I was wondering how they're going to start this drive. Would they pass it more so than running? Because the last drive, they literally went down the football field 97 yards just running it. And here's an opportunity now to work on your pass game so that you're not one-dimensional. This is certainly a shot down right here.
Well, when you've got a running quarterback who can throw it like he does for Parker Navarro, you've got a lot of options. Bangura and Brune both over 100 yards rushing out of the backfield. This is C.A. Bangura. Hit behind the line of scrimmage initially by Mark Hensley, able to push forward for a gain of 3 and a first down.
And yeah, that right there is encouraging. And you're saying, what's encouraging about it? Well, the fact that he was tackled behind the line of scrimmage, yet he found a way to do what? Keep his feet moving. So Blair Kavanaugh, his running back coach, will certainly highlight that little short run more so than the bigger runs due to the fact of the effort he put into getting that first down.
Looks like Bangura walks off a little bit gingerly to the sideline as Brune replaces him at running back. Brune. Solid pickup on first down. Give him 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6. The clock continues to run.
Yeah, and Brune's showing you that he has good vision as well, because initially the direction in which he was headed was closed also. What does he do? Uses his vision to cut back and pick up positive yards.
On the sideline, Bangura flexing his knees a little bit, getting some liquid refreshment. Brune, his replacement, bounces off the first tackle. Again, a solid 3 or 4 yard run to stay on time to make it 3rd down and 2.
Right, and that's what you want ultimately in offensive play. You want to put yourself in a position that if you do reach 3rd down, that it's manageable. What do we mean by manageable? We mean that it's not 3rd and 7 plus, because that's where it gets unmanageable. I even say probably 3rd and 5 might be unmanageable in most situations, but 3rd and short, you'll take that all day, every day.
And you'll also take 2 running backs, both with 100 yards rushing for the first time this season. Last time was against Jacksonville State. Navarro and Anthony Tyus, their former terrific running back. Going to go to the air on 3rd down. Navarro has his man who has it fumbled out of bounds, Chase Hendricks. Did he have possession? Indeed he did, and so it's fumbled out of bounds. 1st down Ohio. The Bobcats are in Northern Illinois territory.
And Chase runs what we call an option or choice route, in that he has a choice to go either inside or outside. And this, he fakes inside and then ultimately goes back outside and then picks up the positive yards for the 1st down.
That football was punched loose by Taylor Powell, but fortunately for Hendricks, he was near enough to the sideline that it didn't hurt. So 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line of the Huskies. Navarro looking right the whole time. Locked in on Hendricks again. A safe pass over the middle to his slot receiver for a gain of 5.
Right, and Hendricks is doing what I call the dirty work. Anytime they have you running in the middle of the football field, there's a lot of action and activity right there. And he doesn't shy away from the physicality of the position that he's forced to play as that slot receiver.
Well, he's used to battling for everything. One of 7 boys to Charles and Reldon. He's got brothers Charles Jr.,
Yeah,
Chaz, Sherez, Costa Rico, Choice, and Jackson. So when it's time to get that last chicken wing, you know he's fighting for it.
And winning. Nice play.
Beautifully set up to Mason Williams, who leaves his feet trying to do a little damage inside the 20-yard line. It's a big play for the Bobcats offense.
And Mason wants to go airborne, but he's met with a nice shot by the defender. But this is a real good play design. You fake the run, sells the defense to one side, they get misdirection, and he jumps in the air and pays the price for it. They'll have a nice laugh with that, but great pickup on his part for the 1st down.
6'5", 258, the son of 2 Rockets, although he is not a Rocket himself. His parents both went to Toledo and were athletes there. And he gets his Ohio Bobcats back inside the red zone. Navarro, Brune, tackled by Roy Williams III. He's the dog on the defensive line. Really another coach on the field. A dark alley guy is how he's described by his defensive coordinator, Rob Harley.
So that means he means business. And we haven't had an opportunity to call his name much today, but certainly Northern Illinois is known for their defenders being very aggressive and physical players at the point of attack.
You know, he's got 11 career sacks, only 1 this season, and that came week 1 against Holy Cross. On 2nd down, Navarro has his man Dorwart with another catch.
And this looks so good on film when you have a situation where your quarterback is distributing the football to multiple receivers, because you obviously know that Hendricks is going to get the football, but when you're able to incorporate other guys into the mix, that certainly helps your it makes you even more of a prolific offense.
So it's 1st and goal from inside the 5-yard line. Bangura has 2 touchdowns already. He is the back behind Navarro, who has a rushing touchdown as well. Bangura bangs his way toward the goal line. His forward progress, though, is stopped at the 1-yard line.
Something tells me that Bangura wants a 3rd touchdown for the day, because he was certainly running like a man who's bent on getting to the end zone.
There's Jelani Williams, another one of the captains. Redshirt senior from Milwaukee. And that will wind up being the final play of the 3rd quarter. The Bobcats have been in control right from the start. Their mantra coming off the bye week was to finish. Well, if the 3rd quarter was any indication, Duncan Brune and company are looking to finish things off. 15 minutes to go here in Athens. Well, for neither of these teams has the 4th quarter been something to write home about. You see the numbers are not good. The Huskies have been outscored 51-13. The Bobcats 48-21. But again, as we said going to break, the Bobcats have been talking all week about finishing and now trying to finish off a current drive that has gone 10 plays, 74 yards, 5 pass, 5 rush. How will they try to punch it into the end zone? Parker Navarro at quarterback, C.A. Bangura the running back. It's Bangura who's in for a touchdown. So they do finish the drive. Impressive. A 75-yard drive to make it 40-14 Ohio.
And Bangura with his third touchdown on the day, and the rushing attack, the passing attack, everything about the offense has been clicking. There have been some spells where they weren't being as efficient as they need to be, but for the most part, it has been a dominant performance on the part of the Bobcats today against this Northern Illinois Husky defense.
Well, Duncan Brune has rushed for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. C.A. Bangura 125 and now 3 touchdowns. The PAT is good by Dellenbach. And all is good on Senior Day and homecoming here in Athens, Ohio, with the Bobcats on top 41-14 over the Huskies. Another impressive drive, 11 plays, 75 yards, over 6 minutes. This is the second time this year, Gerard, that Ohio has rushed for 6 touchdowns. The other time was against FCS Gardner-Webb. And I'm just curious if C.A. Bangura, with his 3 rushing touchdowns, will have an opportunity to get a 4th. He did that once his freshman year against Akron, 4 touchdowns. Will he be able to score a 4th here today?
Well, something tells me that at some point, Coach Smith is going to put in his backups and give them an opportunity to get some much-needed game-playing opportunity, because this game is completely out of reach. So we may see Nick Paulus get an opportunity to go out there on the football field and play. For Bangura, great job, but at some point you got to start concerning yourself with why risk injury.
And remember, he actually did score a 4th touchdown today, but it was called back, one of them, by penalty. A tremendous day for Bangura, the 5th-year senior from Bowie, Maryland, on this Senior Day celebration. And so now Northern Illinois, who has shown in flashes, including the last time they had the football when Josh Holst threw a 50-yard touchdown to Diari Rogers, which is their longest pass play of the season. Can they build on that momentum here in the 4th quarter?
Right. If I'm Northern Illinois, if I read man-to-man coverage once again, and especially if they're bump and running from a technique standpoint, I'm going to do the same thing again, because we need, if you're Northern Illinois, we're saying work on your vertical passing game, because it has not been in much existence throughout the course of the season thus far.
Rogers goes in motion. Design run for the quarterback. Holst makes a man miss, steps out of bounds across the 40-yard line. That's a good way to start a drive.
It is, and this is confidence building for this offense, because again, we can't say enough. This offense was averaging less than 11 points a game. So anything that they could do from a positive standpoint will certainly help build up that confidence and get some momentum going as they play out the rest of the season.
Holst rolling out, fires, little too tall for Rogers. And again, Josh Holst, a former walk-on, started the first 4 games of the season, got banged up week 1 against Holy Cross, but continued to play on. He was replaced last time out by Brady Davidson, but as the offense has continued to struggle to find its way, they're back to Josh Holst again this week.
Right, and Josh certainly has some positive plays take place throughout the course of this game so far, so I'll give more credence to the idea that he should get another look next week as their starting quarterback.
2nd down and 10. Holst, nice delivery to his main man, Diari Rogers, the Lenore Ryan University transfer and #1 receiver for the Huskies, has another first down.
All right, they're starting to make a nice connection to Holst and Rogers.
Running tempo. Give the football to Telly Johnson Jr. Finds a hole.
Yeah.
And again, it's another good play on first down for a pickup of 7.
Yeah, because at this point you're saying to yourself, if you're the Huskies, okay, we're going to play Ball State next week. What can we do to get ourselves in a spot to where we show some positivity and get some momentum going into that game? Because obviously this game is pretty much out of reach.
Johnson again. Gets met at about the 31-yard line, tackled inbounds, shy of the line to gain. And so it'll bring up 3rd down and about a 1.5 feet. Nice job by Michael Molnar, the Will linebacker. Has a stranglehold on the team lead in tackles so far this season. Northern Illinois has converted 3 of its 8 3rd down tries so far today.
Well, if they don't convert this, I got a feeling, Doug, they're going to go for it on 4th down.
No doubt. Well, they converted on 3rd down, and their big starting quarterback at 6'4", 204 imposes his will, and they move the chains again.
Yeah, lowers the shoulder, gets physical with it as well. So nice drive. I mean, it's one of those little too late scenarios with 12 minutes remaining, but again, something to hang your hat on, getting positive plays.
Holst, Roger,
whoa,
caught.
Great catch.
Inside the 1-yard line, yes. Well, Holst was the game MVP of their bowl last year. Played in 8 games, started 3. He has his share of experience and is showing some of that right here on this drive.
Right, and they're going to hurry up. But what I love about the catch, Doug, is the fact that Rogers has a defender coming across his face, interfering with the catch, and he still has the presence of mind and concentration to catch the football to pick up those positive yards.
And they bring in Chavon Wright, who has 76 career rushing touchdowns. Perhaps that draws the timeout called by the Ohio defense.
Ohio, their first of the half. 30 seconds.
Yeah, the numbers for Chavon Wright are ridiculous. The redshirt senior from Opelika, Florida, put up prolific numbers the last 3 years at Division II Charleston. He's got over 5,000 career rushing yards.
Yeah, he certainly is prolific, what he did on CS level. That catch right there is so impressive. You gotta, looks like an interception in the making by DJ Walker, but Rogers keeps his concentration, focuses on the football, and comes down with it. And people are probably saying, what's the big deal? It's 41-14. Who cares? But again, if you're Coach Hammock, you care. Because what do you want to do? You want to get momentum. Now, obviously, the defense did not play to what we're accustomed to. But certainly, if this offense can give you this type of production of what they gave you in the second half, coupled with the defense and better special teams play, you got something to work with.
Well, Northern Illinois will take on Ball State next week, trying to build something in spite of the scoreboard here this afternoon. Let's see what the penalty is.
Disconcerting signals, defense, number 97, simulating the offensive snap count. After this goal, first down.
So that's one of the points of emphasis this year, and Austin Mitchell was doing something the officials said is off limits now.
Sounds like a title of a great album.
Now we've got a direct snap situation with Chavon Wright He takes the football and walks in. Easy as that. Career touchdown, rushing number 77 for Chavon Wright.
That was nothing disconcerting about that. Great job of scoring on that drive for Northern Illinois. Like I said, at this point, you're just trying to build for next week. Now, granted, crazier things have happened in football, but a 30-plus comeback, we'll see if it's in the making. That'll be one heck of a game to call, to say the least. But to their credit, they're still out there fighting, and that is characteristic of a Northern Illinois football team.
Glass bangs that one through the uprights. And it is a 20-point football game. 12:08 still on the clock in the fourth quarter. Do we have a miraculous comeback afoot? Chavon Wright knows his way to the end zone. Out of the Wildcat, it was pretty clear Northern Illinois is going to keep the football, and why would you hand it off if you're Chavon Wright?
Exactly. Get your name in. You don't want to be a selfish player. We're not advocating that by any stretch of imagination, but the hole was clearly there. He made the right read in that offensive set and scored the touchdown. And give credit to the offensive line because it was a gaping hole for him to run through.
He scored a Division II record 38 touchdowns last year. Yeah. 38 touchdowns in one season.
And you describe him as a fire hydrant, and he certainly runs with power, and he's put that on display on the FBS level.
And now out there on special teams, and I admire a guy like him who was a first-team All-American at that level, clearly dominant, but he wanted to challenge himself at a higher level. Goes into a scheme that Thomas Hammock always has 3 running backs, but you're going to have to share the football.
Right.
So you're not going to be a feature back with Telly Johnson Jr. and the emerging freshman Lazaro Rogers. But Chavon Wright has checked his ego at the door for this team.
Right. And the beautiful part is he can say that, yes, I am able to compete on a Division I level and know that for himself, that he's capable to do that. Because, again, he's had some really good runs throughout the course of the season. Now, this offense has struggled, but I think maybe, just maybe, as it looks like they're not going to win this football game, that Northern Illinois may find themselves in a space to where they've identified the quarterback and had some offensive success, which will do what? Build up their confidence.
That's what they need. Josh Holst has completed 13 of his 18 passes for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. And most importantly, as we've seen in the second half, they've gotten vertical a little bit.
They have. And now they're going to get to an onside kick situation.
Let's see if Glass can deliver the right kick. Gets the bounce.
No. Can't kick it directly to the guy. You got to hit someone.
They had the hands team out there.
It seemed like Glass was too concerned about making sure it went the distance in order for them to receive it. But you want to make sure that you're aiming at someone and making it more difficult. That right to the guy who's called the hands guy, who's put in that spot to make that sure-handed grab.
Man, that's Rodney Harris, their tallest wide receiver, their second leading receiver, so why not put him right there?
And it also means that he has one of the best pair of hands on the squad as well if they're going to put him in that position.
And so Parker Navarro back out. He is 17 of 23 through the air for 205 yards. He has thrown a pick. No thrown touchdowns, but they have run the football so well. Got an illegal procedure coming.
And Bangura still in the game. Chance to go for 4 touchdowns
why
on the day.
not?
Prior to the delay of game, full start offense number 60. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Trent Allen. And again, the penalties are a recurring theme here for the Bobcats in spite of them being up by 20 points.
Right, you have to clean that up. Against lesser competition, you can get away with it, but cannot afford to have these mishaps occur when you step up in the level of competition.
So first down and 15. Navarro to the 50. Slides at the 45-yard line with Jasper Beeler closing quickly.
And what should have been a tackle behind the line of scrimmage for a loss ends up being a positive play for 3 yards.
What more can we say about Parker Navarro? Earlier this month, he was named to the watch list for the 2025 Hispanic College Football Player of the Year. Former NFL greats Anthony Munoz, Ron Rivera, our founding board members. And he has plenty of competition around the country, guys you will recognize.
Oh.
C.A. Bangura gets loose again. Dropped by the freshman Finley.
Nice display of athletic ability on the part of Bangura as he makes this nice spin move right there to pick up more positive yards.
He's pushing 150 yards on the ground now. Bobcats in no hurry. Bangura takes a pretty good pop by Finley coming up once again. And Ohio happy just to melt more time off that clock. Wearing their retro helmets from the 1970s. Harkening back to the Coach Hess glory days. I'll tell you what, the succession of head coaches, now Brian Smith, from Solich to Albin to Smith, they've done a really nice job.
They really have, because the winning culture is still in place.
Bangura going to be tackled by Reggie Jean, a backup defensive tackle. And while it makes perfect sense to just keep promoting from within, that doesn't always work.
No, there have been many occasions, be it on the collegiate level or the pro level, where we'll promote from within, and it doesn't necessarily work out. But for some reason, they've done a great job of identifying the right guy to take over. And generally speaking, it comes from a person who has offensive experience, and that they don't go to the defensive side of the ball, but they go to the offense, because both Albin and Smith were coordinators prior to becoming the head coach.
And he is built on the shoulders of Solich and Albin, coming off the first MAC championship for the program since 1968. An 11-win season a year ago under Coach Albin.
And that's the part that's really puzzling. I think that Coach Solich, as prolific of a coach and winning record that he has, heck, his name was on the football field, but they never had a MAC championship under his watch.
Yep. But he built them into consistent winners after he had a real good run at Nebraska. And apparently Coach Solich is now back and living in Nebraska, but makes his way back here to Ohio University at least once a year as he continues to, I mean, he takes a paternal feel, I'm sure, to this program.
For sure.
And will forever.
And it's fair to say Nebraska still has not recovered from the part of Frank Solich.
And the move to the Big Ten. Hendricks in motion. Erweiler, by the way, with 12 tackles and counting for the Huskies. Navarro on fourth down trying to get to the sticks, and there is Erweiler with a big pop, but here comes Parker again. Still on his feet, and eventually is dragged to the ground. James Finley, the fourth, the only man, the final man to get the better of Navarro. Just pinballing off of people.
Refuses to go down. Said a running back disguised as a quarterback. Right there, he should go be tackled. Most guys are going down right there, and he's taking him for a ride. And eventually, finally does get him down, does the freshman defensive back, James Finley.
And I have a feeling that may be the last play from scrimmage we'll see from Parker Navarro as Brian Smith's team doesn't need to lose its starting quarterback. We've got a timeout on the field. 41-21, Bobcats over the Huskies. What was one of the biggest crowds of the season here at Peden Stadium is thinned out as the home team is well in control. 8.5 minutes remaining. Bobcats turn it over on downs to Northern Illinois. The Huskies have moved the football better in the second half. On first down, Telly Johnson out of the backfield off the pass from Josh Holst. 9-yard pickup on first down.
Right, that's what you want, because in the first half this was not the case. It was a yard or two in a cloud of dust, but now they're actually moving the football much better in the second half. See total offense 230 for NIU. Ohio at a commanding 521.
Holst showing great footwork. Makes the first wave miss, gets all the way to the third level before finally being tackled by DJ Walker.
Hurry up offense in place, showing some energy, and also doing a really good job of solidifying why he should be the starter moving forward and how he's played in his second half.
Opong, the tight end, goes out. George Demopoulos, sophomore wide receiver from Crystal Lake, Illinois, back in. Pass to the near side. Holds on to it. Does Gary Givens the third.
This is an excellent catch on the part of Gary Givens. You have traffic in the way, grabbing it by the nose of the football, presence of mind to leave one foot in and keep control of the football. That's an excellent catch.
Tank Pearson closed but couldn't get there.
Ooh, that's an excellent catch.
Talk about another great catch. Diari Rogers gets leveled and hangs on.
Where was this in the first half, Doug?
Right.
This is what was required of you in the first half, and you'd be in this football game if you're playing like this on the offensive side of the ball. But maybe it took in the second half to get warmed up, because they're certainly playing at a higher level.
Holst.
Nice move.
With his third nice run of the day. Is this more about Northern Illinois' offense, or is it about Ohio's defense?
Well, Ohio's defense still has their starters in there, so it's more about Ohio's inability to stop Northern Illinois. So I'm going to say it's about Northern Illinois, just simply put, getting some confidence and playing a better brand of offensive football.
Johnson tackled that time by Charlie Christopher, whose father, Matt, was a backup linebacker at Ohio State back in the 90s.
But in fairness, you're up by 20-something points. Your level of intensity probably on the defensive side of the ball is not nowhere near as intense as it was in the first half.
Well, the numbers look better now. 151 yards passing, a season high for NIU. They passed for 142 against Mississippi State in a loss to the Bulldogs. On third down, Holst.
There you go. Take what the defense gives you.
Finds Demopoulos. And that will move the chains. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line.
Decision making has been better. Play calling has been better, and execution has been much better for Northern Illinois in the second half on the offensive side of the ball.
Holst all day to throw. That one a little too tall for Demopoulos. Incomplete. 2nd down.
And offensive line giving Holtz more time to throw the football, because early on, think about in the first half, Doug, he could barely get the football off, and this was with short passes.
Yep.
Without being hit.
Well, Evan Melkor, the left tackle, is the leader of that offensive front. He's one of the captains, a redshirt junior from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, number 54 on the left side of the line. And he is a large man, 6'6", well over 300 pounds. Now back in pass protection. Holst running that way, off left tackle. Absorbs a hit and goes down. Jalen Thomason with another takedown. The nickel from Greenwood, Indiana's putting together a nice game defensively for Ohio.
Yeah, solid open field tackle right there as Holtz tried to sell him with a play fake, but Thomason was not having any of that. Did not fall for the fake and brought down NIU quarterback in the open field.
So it's 3rd down and 8. Got to get inside the 19-yard line. Johnson threw an arm tackle, threw another arm tackle, and it's a 1st down, Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois has something to work with here. Again, I'll emphasize that the game is pretty much out of reach. Now, they can cut it down to a 2-possession football game if they score at some point. But yet and still, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing, because the offense, when I tell you folks, was dormant, it was dormant. But they have come alive in this second half.
Well, Ohio controlled the football game right from the start thanks to its tremendous running game. 6 rushing touchdowns. But Northern Illinois showing signs of life here in the second half. Short pass to George Demopoulos for very little gain, if any. It'll bring up 2nd down at about 10.
Yeah, it's not a loss. Well, if you're Ohio, your mindset as a defender is, you know, they have to go to the end zone. Now, can they mix some run in there? They certainly can. But build a wall around that goal line, especially in the secondary.
Holst being tracked, gets rid of the football on time to Diari Rogers, who tiptoes along the sideline to the 13-yard line. Josh Holst, redshirt sophomore from Marengo, Illinois, out of Marengo Community High School, completing better than 60% of his passes this season. He puts some air under this one into the end zone.
Out of bounds.
The catch is made, but out of bounds for LaDon Bryant, their 6'4" receiver from Savannah, Georgia. First time we've called Bryant's name today. He is their 4th leading wide receiver. And they're going to go for it on 4th down, and why not? 41-21 Ohio, just over 3 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter.
This is their best play in the playbook. They need it. He had 1st down or a touchdown.
They've got to get to the 11. The running back is Telly Johnson. Holst thought about running. Now he's going to go for it and not get there inside the 10, but they'll turn the football over on downs. Bobcats come away with the football and are running the other way.
They have not blown a whistle.
It's a live football, and Jalen Thomason is going to high step his way to the end zone.
It'll be very interesting to see if this was a fumble return for a touchdown. Now, that certainly is not the optimal idea of having hosts run the football.
And there are flags down on the field, a couple of them back by the 30-yard line. Well, if nothing else, Thomason got a good run in, got a chance to do a floss. Christopher popped it out.
That's a fumble.
It is a fumble.
That is a legitimate fumble. Now the question is he down by contact? When he picks it up and runs it. The answer is no, in my opinion.
Looked like his
teammate grabbed his leg.
Yep.
Now we don't know what the penalty is for. That's a fumble and a recovery on the part of Ohio University Bobcats.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense for a touchdown. We have a sideline interference against Ohio. That 15-yard penalty will be first on the kickoff. We will now play the try.
And so now they can fire off the cannon because the touchdown stands. And hey, how about that?
He did not run for naught.
Jalen Thomason, big Indianapolis Colts fan, having himself a huge afternoon and early evening here on homecoming. A touchdown to make it 47-21 on the fumble recovery, scoop and score. The point after is good by Dallenbach. So the 91-yard fumble recovery stands to make it 48-21.
Right. And again, we said that Northern Illinois need to run their best play. Now, they gave their quarterback host some options with the football, but he would have been better served had he had passed that football to Telly Johnson Jr. and let him work with it. As you see right here, he's rolling around Scamper. Pass it right there to 45, Telly Johnson, but as he's losing his balance, as you see, the ball is clearly beginning to fall out of his arms. And again, great job on the part of Jalen Thomason. Picking up the football and not exercising for his health, but actually scoring a touchdown.
6 tackles, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown, and a little dancing in the end zone for number 22. And again, Charlie Christopher, the freshman, a true freshman out of Lake High School in Ohio, forced that fumble. It's the first fumble return for a touchdown since 2 years ago against Bowling Green. And so now the kick team is back out yet again for the Bobcats, and Dellenbach has the duty of kicking off. But because of the penalty, he will kick off from the 20, and the return man standing at about the 15-yard line. Devion Reynolds certainly shouldn't have an opportunity to return this. Now he's backed up to his 10-yard line. Reynolds catches it there, and here he comes. Tries to find a seam. 2 men take him down. Good field position to begin this drive for the Huskies.
And despite the fumble and turnover, you had some success driving the football down the field.
Well, as mentioned, this is the last go round for Northern Illinois in the Mid-American Conference. For the second time, they will leave the league, this time out to the Mountain West Conference. And there you see Coach Hammock, who has been in control for 7 years as head coach at his alma mater. He will make that transition, and you go from being right within your footprint, a very stable league in the MAC, to a Mountain West Conference 1,500 miles away, where the teams change constantly. So it's going to be a big change for the Huskies and their program.
Certainly, and some of the changes that he's making, I believe in anticipation of that change, is with a new coordinator on both offensive and defensive sides of the ball. could think back to when Lynch was involved when he made that Heisman run where they were an option team.
Yep. That was Jordan Lynch. Little shovel pass on the run.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Doug. Jordan Lynch has a nephew, I believe, on the squad.
Well, it's his brother. It's his younger brother, Justin.
Oh, okay, brother.
Yep. Started his career at Temple and has played some quarterback at Northern Illinois like his big brother. Now more of a special teams utility type guy. And I have not seen number 5 out there today, but that doesn't mean he hasn't played. And so now we've had a quarterback change with 2:17 remaining in the fourth quarter. Brady Davidson made his first career start against Miami a couple of weeks ago. Made 2 starts and now coming off the bench. The best thing you can say about him is coaches have said this young man is not afraid. A true freshman from Columbia, Missouri. He'll get an opportunity here on what could be the last drive of the ball game.
I just wonder why you took Holtz out. He had been so effective for you. Granted, he did fumble right there, but I think it's about confidence building. And he certainly gave you some action.
Well thrown football to Demopoulos, who is wrapped up and tackled at the 35-yard line by Charlie Christopher.
Yeah, so you wonder if that's an injury situation that put Brady Davidson in the game as opposed to keeping Holtz.
We have reached the 2-minute timeout with 4th down and 7 facing Northern Illinois. The Bobcats well on their way to an 11th consecutive home field win, up 27. Back for the final 2 minutes here in Athens, Ohio. With Gerard Cherry, I'm Doug Sherman. On 4th down, the Huskies going for it, down by 27. Davidson under heavy pressure, throws it incomplete, and they turn it over on downs. Well, this will give us an opportunity to show you what's coming up next week in the MAC. Buffalo will be home against Akron. The Bulls are still undefeated in conference play because they rallied to beat UMass in Amherst today on a touchdown to Victor Snow from Taquan Roberson with 21 seconds to go. 28-21 Buffalo. So we've still got 3 unbeaten teams remaining in MAC play. The other 2 will face off next week in Miami. The Redhawks against Western Michigan.
Yeah, great matchups right there. That may have a determining factor on who represents between those 2 squads potentially in the MAC championship.
So now Nick Polis, the redshirt senior quarterback who we showed you earlier today, grew up in Granite Bay, California, Northern California kid whose mom might just be the best softball pitcher in the history of the sport.
No doubt about it. She's certainly made a name for herself at the University of California, Berkeley, and I got a chance to observe her greatness.
She led the United States to a gold medal in 1996 at the Atlanta Olympics. Her son got spot duty on last year's MAC championship team, started against Kentucky, got extended run against Morgan State and Miami. But for the most part, he is number 2, clearly behind Parker Navarro, who had himself another productive day. He was intercepted once, but by and large took care of the football and orchestrated what was a marvelous ground game.
Northern Illinois still fighting. Call the timeout.
Still things to coach up.
That's culture right there.
And by the way, Doe Boyland is into the game. He's the 3rd string running back for Ohio, and that's his grandfather of the same name. Doe Boyland was on the We Are Family Pittsburgh Pirates, and to prove it, he's got the World Series ring to show it as a backup to Willie Stargell. And Doe, the grandfather, went on to own a number of car dealerships around the country, very successful businessman, and now his grandson, a grad transfer from Drake University, getting an opportunity at the back end of a blowout. Doe Boyland, the grandson, runs straight up the middle out of Medina High School here in Ohio. Well, Doe Boyland had intended to play football at the Division III school, Wisconsin Oshkosh, where his grandfather had played baseball, but he got the opportunity to play at the FCS level. Played very well at Drake, a 3-year starter for the Bulldogs, and now at Ohio U. And his team is about to improve to 4-3 overall and 2-1 in conference play. And we've talked about it all day. The 3-man running attack for Brian Smith's team. The 2 running backs, Bangura and Brune, and the quarterback, Parker Navarro, who can also sling it, are very, very dangerous.
Yes, they are. I wonder what they look like if they actually went to the traditional option.
Well, Nick Polis. We should also mention Navarro's favorite target, Chase Hendricks, had himself a terrific game catching the football as Boylan drives straight ahead for a first down. Flags down, though. And you can see Boylan is thick. He played offensive and defensive line in high school.
Legal formation, offense, more than 4 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down. Northern Illinois has elected to have the game clock start on the snap.
And you know who Boylan's quarterback in high school at Medina was?
I got a feeling he played for Penn State.
You got that right.
Well, that's in my own backyard, so I know all the stuff. So I should have played dumb with you. Like, woo!
Well, Aller's out injured now for the Nittany Lions, but he and Boylan were a pretty good combination back in the day at Medina High School.
Certainly were.
That's
Nice
another
pickup.
nice run. Second first down run. And continuing to fight with under 90 seconds to go. Well, his 2024 season was cut short by a knee injury after just 4 games played, so he got this extra year. The son of Tony and Joy. His given name, like his grandfather, is Dorian, but goes by Doe. And now looks like they're into victory formation and can just take a knee a couple of times, and that will do it. Well, what was a near capacity crowd certainly is thinned out here on homecoming, but what a show by the Bobcats.
Yes, and it started off with them putting on a show. You had complimentary football on full display as a special teams with Hendricks gets a great return. That sets up the offense, and thanks to, they took off, but it all started with that 3-and-out scenario with the defense as well. So we saw flashes of brilliance with the Ohio Bobcats offense, defense, and special teams units as they were very dominant today in this football game.
Yeah, Hendricks had that 52-yard return you're talking about. He also delivered as a wide receiver with over 100 yards receiving, 10 catches, 108 yards, but it was the ground game. Parker Navarro led the way. Bangura 147 on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Duncan Brune 126, including that 66-yard sprint to the end zone. He scored twice. And Ohio's going to win it 48-21.
Yeah, that's how you get back on track if you're the Bobcats. And for Northern Illinois, you're probably saying, all right, we're back to the drawing board. But there's certainly some things you build upon from the offensive production that took place in the second half, and to be encouraged about the way in which their quarterback, Josh Holtz, played in the second half.
But it is a 6th consecutive loss for the Huskies, who dropped to 1-6, 0-3 in MAC play. Ohio keeps hope alive to be a factor in the second half of the season and make their way to the MAC championship game and beyond. After this one, next Saturday, Ohio will play at Eastern Michigan at noon to try and continue their momentum and pick up what could be their first road victory of the season. Our final score once again, Ohio 48, Northern Illinois 21. For Gerard Cherry and our entire crew, this is Doug Sherman saying thanks so much for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN. So long from Athens, Ohio.